Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It is time for the main event. It is time for Division 1, and what a race we have in store for you all today. It's round 16 out of 16. It's time for the finale here for Season 5. It's the ISRL Division 1 Championship, and what a way we have to kick it off here, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely soaking wet, pouring out there here today, and we're seeing the first few drivers hit the track. For those who aren't aware, my name is Fallen Monkeys, or Eric, here in the commentator's booth to take you through the action. Normally joined by Jamie, but not quite here today. Haven't heard too much from him, so if he jumps in, even better. If not, then no worries at all, as Eklund found a way to maneuver his way around the pit lane, it seems, and end up on track somehow on that outlap. Little interesting secrets here of the trade in Division 1, it seems, but he's on the outlap, but it looks to be not XL Larkin, it might be here, Krishna, I believe, a familiar face from Division 2 who is leading his way around the outlap in these soaking full wet conditions, and my goodness, it does not look great. It does not look great out there at all. But, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going through, of course, a little bit of housekeeping. We still have a championship here to decide between Ariel Wouter and Izat Kush. They are so close to one another in points. I'll pull that up in just a few moments, as Krishna already showing off how difficult these conditions can be, and I think saving himself before the inevitable. But we'll switch over to Eklund now. We're right on board as he heads towards the line, starting his first flying lap of the session. So charges down towards turn 1, the Senna S's. A little bit of a left, right, left. You can take a little bit of curb here on the inside. Maybe not as much in these full wet conditions. You can see very much tiptoeing around the track here. Normally now it would be down a DRS straight. Not quite so much here, unfortunately, in the west into the left-handed corner. You can just chuck it in there, take a little bit of curb, watch out on the exit, hoo-hoo, and you can see right there the challenges that this track is proving in the full wet, but the exit can invalidate. Generally, you just lift off the car, bring it down into 6th, but you can see a little bit more cautious through that next corner section into Sector 2. The very slow section of Sector 2, you can see keeping the revs low in 2nd. Some like to take that corner section in 3rd, but here definitely want to be in 2nd for this corner. Generally quick on the power, but as always, watch out for the revs. Keep that car under control at all costs here, ladies and gentlemen. In the sweeping left-hander, the final hard braking zone, the final true corner of the track, generally in the dry conditions. You can see there's going to be just a few little kinks to the left, and as Eklund comes around the generally be the final corner here, takes a bit of a wider line to the line to finish with a 119.7, so very much so tiptoeing around the track as Krishna sets a 126 for his first lap time. But you can already see the challenges here. Total Ps, though, or Ariel Ps, gets a good lap time in a 117.8 to kick things off here, as Jerome sets a 17.9. So the two Ariel drivers here putting in some good laps. But let's give the championship a little bit of love. He's at Kush with a banker lap to end all banker laps here, a 39.7. For that first lap there, but you got to think there's more in the tank here, especially with what's on the line, as I was heading towards before I got distracted by the flying lap. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently the driver on your screen, Izat Kush, who was able to just snag the lead in the championship here, I believe after that final race, with 357 points. But for all of you Ferrari fans, for all of you Ariel Wouter fans out there, worry not. He is still in the championship, not over by a long shot. A mere 20 points behind is Ariel Wouter here with 337 points. So still all to play for between these two drivers. And of course, a couple more position shuffling along the way. Carmentalist in 3rd, out of that battle, unfortunately, for the top 2, but still in a battle between himself and Jerome, 3rd and 4th, and even Eklund is a little bit more involved in there as well with 206 points. So Jerome, he's got to keep up that pace as well to try to catch up and keep the other AlphaTauri behind. And just looking over there, constructors on the other hand, Aston Martin leading the way. Excuse me, AlphaTauri in second, but the Ferraris close behind the AlphaTauris. But it looks like the Aston Martin team of Isaac Kush and Josh 2 for today have kind of run away with that here. But now you can see Isaac Kush setting a 1:17.4 for his first lap, for his first true lap time here. And now as Aria Welter coming across the line, we'll see what the Ferrari driver can do in order to challenge. But already you can see setting the pace here, a 1:17.400, 4/10 of a second faster than that time set by Pease here. As we'll see, like I said, what Wouter can do on his first lap. Watching him go around, we'll jump on board. Looked like his teammate AJ Wuhan might have been there to try to help a little bit. That little tank slapper on the exit of that corner is not going to help all that much. The case for Wouter on this first lap, though. But we'll see how it's all playing out. Nathan JB equally coming around, setting a lap here, just coming around the final corner. And Nathan JB has a season of what could have been. He's shown a lot of signs of brilliance here this season, but unfortunately just ended up way too often on the wrong end of luck. Sets his first lap and goes up to a top 10 and into P9. So already we're seeing a lot of drivers getting lap time set. The track is very busy, as it tends to be with the full wet tires, as drivers tend to put a lot of fuel in the car and run like 4, 5, 6 laps. They'll do quite a few. And a 118.5 for Wouter, and an extra little lockup into turn 1. Not the way he wanted to start his qualifying session, I'm sure. But I'm sure there's a little bit more in the tank. And meanwhile, there goes one of the Aston Martins. That was Josh 2, who had a little bit of a tank slapper himself there. Unfortunately, unable to save it, and that is the end of his qualifying. But very crucially, though, running in third as of right now. So still sitting in a good position here. All truth be told, with a 1:17.7. But I'm sure the times will get quicker as the line starts to form a little bit here, and I'm sure there is a chance that Josh 2 might fall, but still put himself in a great spot running in P3 as of right now. But you can see Jerome is running a lap. Jerome Visser, he goes purple in sector 2. Can he keep it up through the final sector here? Let's see as he heads towards the line, using a little bit of that car ahead as a tow, a slipstream here. Quickest line to the line, and he goes fastest. It's a 1:17.198 for Jerome Visser, putting up a lap time and a half here, and essentially knocking 2/10, nearly 3/10, or yeah, a little more than 2/10 off that time that was set by Isaac Kush, who's currently drying up in the pit lane, but might be out on track soon enough here. As I think you can see Wouter a little bit further behind to keep an eye out on that, down in 12th, so did improve, but still needs a little bit more here. XL Gary, on the other hand, running a lap in purple in sector 1, but you saw losing the back end ever so slightly. Total P's also running a lap, not running a lap, diving into the pit lane is Ariel P's. So we'll be putting on a fresh set of boots and coming out on track in just probably just a few moments now here. A little bit later in the session to get one more in. But we'll see what XL Gary can do now in the Haas as he's coming through the end of Sector 2. We'll get an eye on the sector time. Had a little bit of traffic there, but that did not affect him all that much, I don't think. About 2/10 of a second faster than his previous best lap time for XL Gary. So can he keep that up? Maybe knock off a little bit more time here as he heads towards the line. What's it going to be? It's he's going to go faster, but will be remaining in third. Just close that gap up, but not enough to leapfrog Isaac Kush, still in second position. Let's see, Nathan JB up to 6th now, so putting in a few laps here is Nathan JB, and it's working out really well for him. XL Larkin right behind, just starting a lap of his own, it seems, just coming through the Senna S's down towards what would be a DRS straight. Not so much here in these in these conditions. And I'll keep an eye out on Marco Bada, 26. He's in the Mercedes here. I think he's I don't think we've seen him in the league before. I don't think we've seen him here in Division 1, so we'll keep an eye out on his pace. But running up in 9th right now in these very tricky, challenging qualifying session that we have for this finale. Very much so a good sign here for Marco Bada, but we'll see if he can improve. We'll see how he's gonna fare here on his debut race here in Division 1. But as he heads towards the line to set his next flying lap, is he going to improve? Yes, he does. Knocks about 3.5 tenths of a second off of his previous best time, and the 17.5 good enough to put him in P4, and splits XL Gary and Total P's here, with XL Gary now diving into the pit lane. So you can see every driver essentially has a lap time set at this point, other than Feral Fury, who's still sitting in the pit lane. So running that optimal strategy here of sitting, starting at the back, and that way we can only gain positions come the start of the race. Taking some of his own advice from the from the award ceremonies that he ran yesterday, and got to give a shout out to Farrell for the work with those awards. Loved to see that. Loved the work that he put in there, and I mean, if you haven't seen them, definitely go check them out on the Discord. But for now, we've got racing here to tend to. 6 minutes to go in this short qualifying session here, with Ariel Giron sitting on provisional pole position. Izat Kush, one of the competitors for the championship, in second. His main rival of Izat Kush, Ariel Wouter, only down in 13th right now and in the pit lane. So we'll see how that's going to fare here. ISRL Knight, meanwhile, flying under the radar, it seems. At least as far as I was concerned, sets an absolute flyer of a lap here, a 1:17.378. He's finding his groove here, and very crucially, he's on a set of intermediate tires, and that's something that flew a little. That's something I didn't even notice either. He's the first driver to fall with the intermediate tires, and that would explain a lot why the lap time started to improve. And you can see lots of drivers now, essentially every single one of them who's leaving the pit lane, have opted to put on a set of intermediates. So the track has gotten better, albeit there is a lot of standing water still on the track, as you can see with the onboard. When you're following that racing line, though, it's very, well, I wouldn't say it's dry, but there's zero standing water on that racing line here. So definitely, it is definitely time for intermediates. They will be the faster tire, but you got to make sure to stay on the line. If you stray out, then you're running into those puddles, that standing water, and that's where things can get a little tricky for you. But on board with Izak Kush, as you see, he's taking a lot of curb on this lap, and I'm sure he's going to improve. We're going to see a lot of shuffling of the order here. So for Josh, too, who's down in 8th, and had that unfortunate incident early on in qualifying, he might just continue to fall in this order as more intermediate times start to be set, and more of these full wet tire times start to be less and less impressive, all considered. But as Izak Kush is coming around the final corner, let's see how much what the improvement is going to be. Carmentalis with a 1:16.7. Here comes Izak with a 1:16.6. So snags that pole position. Carmentalis in second, about a tenth of a second behind, and looks to be going very slow here, taking the definition of what I can only call another setup lap on those intermediate tires. Jerome, meanwhile, through in sector 2 right now, and we'll see how he's going to perform. Wouter just starting his flying lap, just keeping an eye out on that for the championship, for the qualifying order here. Because with Wouter down in 15th, that's going to be a lot of work for him here to gain positions. Rotation, meanwhile, in the Red Bull, a 1:16.999, so just breaking through into that sub 1:17 mark with a fantastic lap. Now, Rotation, he's had a little bit of practice here with the intermediate tires. For those who tuned in to the race just before this one, in Division 2. We actually saw rotation take the victory here with a fantastic strategy with the pit stop. He got a couple laps under his belt with the intermediates, and he's continuing that charge here up into what was 5th, but now down in 6th as Jerome set a faster lap. Isaac Kush, meanwhile, setting a 2nd lap and improving on that gap between himself and Carmentelis, along with everybody else. It's a 1:15.922 as the fastest lap. Wouter, meanwhile, that's an invalidated lap, so he's going to have to go again for sure, as he takes a very tight line across the line. And he was on pace for a 1:15.8, so it was faster on pace, but could not keep it within the white lines, unfortunately. So he's going to have to do it all again here, as you can see more and more drivers jumping up on the grid. We've got RPM Bacher, who we've seen in Division 3, but showing a lot of pace here around this track in Interlagos. He's up to 2nd. Ariel P is now taking that 2nd place as he crosses the line. There goes XL Gary now up into P2, a 1:16.3. But can anybody break that sub 1:16 mark and challenge Isaac Kush? There goes Marco Botta now crossing the line with a fantastic lap of his own. Who is next across the line here? I thought it might have been Nathan JB who did. There goes a Williams. Now we've got a Haas that's crossing. That would have been Jamian, who must have improved a little bit. No, went a little bit slower on that lap time here. But we'll switch back over to the Ferrari, who's really trying to improve on that 1:18.1. He goes purple in Sector 2, so it's looking to be faster. Let's see, where's the time going to be as we're down to the final minute of short qualifying. Takes the quickest line to the line, and there we go. It's a 1:15.6 for Ariel Wouter in the Ferrari. Now the question is, Isaac Kush, who's probably on a lap right now, I'd be surprised if he wasn't. How can he respond? A little bit of ERS in the tank should be more than enough to get him through the lap here. Will it be the Ferrari? Will it be the Aston Martin? Or will we have another shock pole position here as the clock is ticking? The track is busy though. Who will get this pole position here, ladies and gentlemen? It's all to play for, as Pease, I think, went a little bit faster. There goes Marco Botta breaking into the sub 1:16s, a 1:15.9, as we've got yellow flags in Sector 1. Is that one of the Haas's? That might be Jamian crossing the line. Let's keep an eye. That was Jamian jumping up to P13, and we've got Carmentelis crossing next. What's he going to do? Can he improve? Yes, he does. Goes up into P4 as qualifying has come to a close. Next up is Isaac Kush. Will he go faster? Yes, he does. It's a 1:15.613 for Isaac Kush. Who can challenge? There goes Wouter now, and Wouter takes that pole position right back with a blistering fast 1:15.293 here, knocking 0.4 of a second, just about, or 0.3, I should say, off of that time. Let's see, how is everybody else going to respond now on their final lap times? Here we go. We'll keep an eye out on Pease as he's crossing the line. He's got a Red Bull just ahead of him for a little bit of tow. That was rotation. There goes Pease, just a little bit faster than rotation. Here comes Marco Botta now, so right on board with him. A little bit of a slap there. Tank slapper around that final corner. He's using a little bit of a car ahead for help. And there goes Marco Botta up to P2, and Jerome just ahead. Was up into second, gets knocked down to third. So very crucially now, that's knocked Isaac Kush down to the second row in 4th position here. So from what looked to be a commanding qualifying from Isaac Kush, all considered, turned into quite possible, I wouldn't say disaster, but not ideal for the Aston Martin driver, as he will be starting in 4th and sees his main rival on that coveted pole position finding the time when he needed it the most, right at the end of the session. But here we go. On pole is the Ferrari. 3/10 of a second just about, or just a little under 3/10 of a second faster than Marco Botta, who's showing a lot of pace here so far, with Ariel Jeroen Visser, a familiar face here, rounding out the top 3, and there's Izat Gush in 4th, XL Larkin rounding out the top 5, P's down in 6th, so a little bit of a disappointing qualifying for him. Rotation, Carmentelis, Gary, and Ferg round out the top 10. Let's just quickly go through the rest of the order. There you have it, with Josh 2 and Eklund having the most of the work cut out for them here, down in 18th and 19th, as they crashed out of qualifying, and their times were set on the full wet tires rather than those intermediate tires that we saw. So definitely going to have a little bit of work cut out for both of those drivers, starting from the back. But I know for the likes of Josh too, we've seen that in the past from him before, so we'll definitely a driver to keep an eye out for. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying has come to a close. It's looking to be a little bit drier now for race time, as I think we already got a bit of an idea of Feral Fury's tires, as I saw those softs switch over to a set of white wall hard tires. So possibly fitting a set of hard tires is the Red Bull driver, who's down in 17th. But as the drivers are getting their last little bit of strategy set up and ready to go, we will just about be set for the formation lap and 36 laps around around Interlagos here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for this race, not just for the championship implications, but just this track does bring out the best of drivers. It's always a fan favorite. It's one of my favorite tracks to commentate here. And I'm really, really happy and excited to be able to take you all through it. But as the one red light turns off, we've got the formation lap up and running. So if I switch over, everybody got free choice of tires. So let's take a look at the strategy calls here. So we've got Wouter leading the way. Marco Botta in second. Jeroen Visser in third, with Izat Kush in fourth. Top 4 all on the soft tires. XL Larkin, meanwhile, in fifth. He put on a set of medium tires. Ariel P's in sixth. He's got a set of soft tires on himself for this race. So expect him to be very hot off the start here, to try to keep up with that top 4. Then you've got Rotation in 7th, Carmentalist in 8th, XL Gary in 9th, and Ariel Ferg rounding out the top 10, 7th to 10th on those yellow-walled medium tires that can go just a little bit longer, but don't have that pure grip compared to the soft tires that do wear out a little bit quicker. Bacher in 11th, also on the medium tires. AJ Wuhan in 12th, and Nathan JB, the two brothers, 12th and 13th here on the medium tires. So expect them to continue that rivalry here on track between the two of them. Then you've got Knight in 14th on those red wall soft tires. So opting for the soft tires here is the McLaren driver of Knight. Jamie, and also in 15th on the softs, with Krishna in 16th on the mediums. Feral Fury on the softs in 17th here. So he is actually going to be putting on a set of soft tires. Josh too on the mediums in 18th, with Eklund rounding out the back of the grid on the soft tires in 19th place. But here we go. Very quickly, pit stop strategies. Most likely we'll see a one stop here, soft to mediums or possibly soft to hards. There is the chance of a two-stop strategy here, soft, medium, soft, but I think that might be a worst-case scenario, maybe if we see safety cars. But as the grid has formed, I am just going through looking to see if we can get those 5 red lights here. There we go. Up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And the lights are off, and we are racing here in Brazil. It looks to be a pretty good start from most of the grid, as Wouter's still leading. Marco trying to go down the inside, and nearly loses it there right off the get-go. Lots of overtaking, and who is that? That's Krishna, who's off the track there, spun around, and who else? That's AJ Wuhan and Ferg, I think, that got involved. XL Gary involved as well. It's pure chaos here right off the start, as now you can see XL Larkin Carmentalist having a battle here. Side by side go Rotation Larkin and Carmentalist, excuse me, as Knight is trying to keep up with them. Larkin just a little bit farther ahead, but nearly 2x2 here coming through this corner section. Nathan JB trying to go around the outside of Bacher, and he does get it done, but can't quite make that extra push to Knight. Feral Fury and Bacher now having a little bit of a battle of their own in the midfield here. But further ahead, you've got Wouter still leading, doing what he has to do, trying to build a gap here between himself and Jerome. But Isaac Kush putting a lot of pressure here on Marco Bada, but he's got two Mercedes to try to get through here. He's got two Mercedes to try to get by. Lots of work. Oh no, that's Bacher, who went for a little bit of a spin on that final corner. I don't know if there was contact or not, but he's now needing to get back on track, and that's a lot of positions lost for the McLaren driver. You can see the pit stops now. Feral Fury, Josh too, taking an early pit stop, and you got to think AJ, Krishna, I'm sure Bacher might pit as well, Gary and Ferg as well. They're all going to be taking pit stops here. Not what they wanted here to start off this Grand Prix on a set of medium tires, having to pull off an alternate strategy now in this cage of the race. But if we look a little bit further behind, you've got Knight putting a lot of pressure on rotation. I feel we've seen this one already just a couple hours ago. Rotation leading Knight. They're just going to renew right where they left off here on these slick tires, but this time Knight on the softs, rotation on those mediums that worked so well for him in Division 2. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But a little bit wide on the exit when rotation. That opened the door just about for the McLaren driver, but just could not get enough to get the overtake done. So we'll remain down in 9th. But you can see here back at the front in 4th still, buying his time, working out his strategy. Isaac Kush in 4th, trying to figure out how he wants to tackle these two Mercedes. I'm sure he'd love to have his teammate here, but unfortunately his teammate down in the other end of the spectrum, and he's going to have to play a little bit of catch-up after getting involved in that incident earlier on. I'm sure DRS being activated at the end of this lap is definitely going to help, as you can see Jerome now, meanwhile, keeping up with Wouter quite a bit, but Microbata here playing a great job of that secondary support role, allowing Jerome to essentially try to attack Wouter while just keeping Isaac Kush behind. So the two Mercedes early on, they've got to be working a little bit together as a team, and it seems to be going pretty well. But elsewhere on track, you've got Nathan JB putting pressure on the McLaren, practically riding that rear diffuser through Sector 2. But can he find that opportunity to get the overtake done? We'll keep an eye out on that as this race carries on. But here we go, back down towards the start-finish straight to start lap 4. You can see DRS is enabled here. We've got another yellow flag in Sector 2 that looks to be, I think that might be Bacher once again, and that's going to bring out a virtual safety car that will effectively neutralize the race, as I think there might be a little bit of debris on the track. Let's go take a look at that very quickly here, as we've got, once we get a little bit of a better angle to see what happened. And yeah, that's Bacher with no front wing on that McLaren. So it's going to be a lengthy pit stop for him as he tries to get that changed, but very crucially, he gets a little bit of that under that virtual safety car. So not as much time loss as we might have initially thought. But we're waiting for the cue to go back green here, after what has been a fantastic first 4 laps filled with action. And you can see the Ferrari of Wouter is leading the way. He is leading the race, doing exactly what he has to do to help his case. He's 20 points behind in the championship, so a win here in Brazil would be very crucial for his hopes at winning the Division 1 championship for a 4th time here. But of course, we'll have to see how it's all playing out, as we're still under virtual safety car. It's a relatively lengthy virtual safety car here, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't quite seen them for this long. As there we go. Now we are back to green flag racing. We're just waiting for it to end. Meanwhile, Knight and oh no, that was Nathan JB who unfortunately went for a little bit of a spin. They were battling he and Knight together. I don't know if they came in contact, if it was just clipping that curb. I know that curb on the inside of turn turn 1 is very tricky and can very much so unsettle the car. But unfortunately for Nathan JB, there was a little bit of a spin, and that's a couple positions lost as he finds himself down in 12th spot now, and a little bit of a gap to try to close up to this main group of cars that are still battling here over the course of this lap, and I'm sure many other laps to come. But on your screen right now, we've got the onboard of Jordan trying to close up to Wouter here. You can see Marco Bada still keeping Isaac Kush behind. This DRS train has proven to make things even more difficult to overtake. Total P is rounding out the top 5 here, so Total P was able to get past Larkin, but just can't quite seem to make any more ground either here with this DRS train. It's just essentially having to follow one another and just hope for a mistake. So we'll see how this is all going to play out as now Group 2 is making through the Senna S's. Led by Carmentalist, who's going way to the inside to try to break the toe from rotation, who's on a charge with DRS. Right behind, there goes Jamie, and I thought he was going to go for an overtake on Knight. He came very close, really thought about it, and I think thought hard about it, but realized that that wasn't quite going to work out too well for him. So had to back out, and will be remaining in P10. But it's still a fantastic race. It's lap 6 out of 36. Tons to race for here, ladies and gentlemen, as we've got a nice little helicopter view, or we had a little helicopter view there for a little bit. But as we're coming around the final corner once again, let's take a look. Can any positions be exchanged here? You can see Jamie actually much closer to Knight now than he was previously. We'll take a look at that in just a moment as I'm keeping an eye out on this main group of cars. But let's quickly switch over. Here comes Jamie and Knight as they head down towards turn 1. Jamie does get the overtake done to get up into 9th. Now how is Knight going to respond here, as he's also got Eklund right behind, putting a lot of pressure here. Both all 3 of these drivers on this soft tires, and you can see here comes Eklund, Jamie gaining ground a little bit here. So nothing's going to change after that overtake, but you can see Jamie now with in a way a little bit more clear air can get ahead. Meanwhile, Josh too, he's continuing his charge after that early pit stop, getting ahead of Feral Fury in that Red Bull to go up into 14th. But now 15-second gap to try to close up to Krishna, who's a little bit further ahead. Not an easy feat here, to say the least. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But they might be racing each other here for just a couple laps at the very least, unless we see something the likes of a safety car or anything really to kind of help that case. Eklund, meanwhile, still on the charge, but Jerome Visser gets to overtake Wouter. Here comes Marco Bada. I think he wanted to go for the overtake himself as he was right up behind, but just unable to close up enough. But now there's Jerome Visser in the lead of this race. But what's happening here? Carmentalist losing out on 2 spots. As Jamie now battling with rotation as they're heading down towards turn 4. You can see rotation trying to break the toe. Jamie is having absolutely none of it. Goes down the outside. Almost looks like be a little bit of contact, but has to really slow the car down. And that let rotation continue by, and that let Carmentalist by as well. So trying to go around the outside just didn't quite work out for Jamie 1 here. And you can see now there's Eklund and Knight right behind there. A great battle of cars here as they're all just battling for position, all being led by rotation here for the time being, as went very deep into that corner, and that actually allowed Carmentalist possibly to, I thought Carmentalist would have had the overtake, but not quite, just couldn't find the grip there, unfortunately. So rotation lives to survive for another day. Let me switch back over here as Marco Bada is actually down 2 positions down to P5. So all of a sudden, Isaac Kush is up into 3rd, P is in 4th. Marco Bada must have had an incident, must have had a moment here that I didn't see. Meanwhile, Carmentalist, rotation now being forced to the inside, almost bullied there a little bit, as there go not 1, not 2, but 3 cars past rotation, and now Knight with the DRS. He's going to try to get by on the inside line. We'll jump on board here. They're side by side here. Loads of room being left from both drivers, but rotation hanging on that outside line to keep that P10, limit the damage. But like I said, that's the key word. Damage was limited. It was already done here for rotation as he finds himself now down in 10th. But with Marco Bada now running in 5th, and he's got a little bit of a gap now he's going to have to close. So those soft tires almost look to have nearly fallen off on him here. So not ideal for Marco Bada, especially considering his teammate is currently leading the race. But for how long? As here comes Wouter. Is he going to go for a move? Yes, he is. Heading towards the inside. Gets it done well before the braking zone, so the Ferrari driver back into the lead of this Grand Prix here on lap 10. But looks like it's one of those races, I think, that we might see the lead change just lap after lap with the help of DRS. And here we go. There comes Jerome once again alongside, and he gets the overtake. He takes that spot right back. And that's allowing Isaac Kush, who's in 3rd, to stick with them, sticking within 0.4 of a second. Meanwhile, Carmentalist and Jamien exchange positions here. Jamien on a charge here, up to P7 as he's going to try to close up to XL Larkin, who's just trying to stick with this group of top 5 on those medium tires. He's been having a great race and really benefiting from the fact that he's just gotten to drive his own race. He hasn't truly had to battle with anybody here. He's just like running his race on those mediums and doing what he has to do, and that's all we can really ask for him here. But back to the start-finish straight, so back to the leaders we go. Jerome now taking a pit stop. He's going to dive into the pits. Wouter staying out. Isaac Kush staying out. Total P staying out. So definitely an undercut, to say the least, from Jerome Visser. Let's see how that's going to work out as the leaders are approaching a back marker here. But now Wouter, no DRS. Isaac Kush with DRS. Can he close up enough? No, he cannot. So Wouter lives in the lead for another day, but not ideal for him, seeing his main championship rival as, oh no, and that's Ferg taking a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, as he's just trying to stay out of the way of the lead lap cars that are coming through him, and there's another one for him. What is going on here? Really unfortunate for Ferg, but the marshals are just drilling him left, right, and center. But he's just trying to be a good guy. He's just trying to get out of the way here. So I mean, I don't agree with that all that much personally, but of course I'm not the marshals, as now AJ Wuhan taking a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So that will be added on to his time. But here riding on board, a near fake to the pit stop from Wouter, but is that really going to work out for him? As what was going on there? Isaac Kush nearly like slowing down there. I thought he had the opportunity to go for it, but I think he was trying to play it safe. He wants to get the overtake done down this straight, I think. As I think Ferg, that's gonna be it here. And what a little interesting for Isaac Kush is he's faking a move. Almost looks to be trying to fake force an accident here, or force a mistake from his main competitor. He doesn't want to be the lead driver going into the corner. He wants to get the overtake done safe and sound. So an interesting development here, watching the mind games play out between the two powerhouse competitors running in 1st and 2nd. And I'm sure Izat is very much familiar with what he has to do, knowing he's got a 20-point lead. So I think he's also just trying to play it safe here, just make sure that he can finish the race in one piece and not end up having to take an unscheduled pit stop, for example, and fall down. But nearly faking a pit stop. And here comes Total Peas, who wants to get involved here. He's still part of this race, as he goes now down the inside into turn 1, as now Peas is up into 2nd, and I'm sure Wouter a little bit happy about that. Isaac Kush not so much, as he has DRS trying to chase down, but will not be closing up here. So Isaac now in 3rd, Peas in 2nd, Wouter still leading the race, as we're seeing a couple more pit stops here, the likes of Knight taking a pit stop for a set of medium tires. Meanwhile, you've got Carmentalist still chasing down Jamian, but it looks like a lot of that midfield battle is kind of taking a little bit of a breather now, so to say. Both Carmentalist and Eklund following along suit, and they're both teammates here, so I'm sure they're probably working together to try to get both of them past Jamian, so they can essentially focus on that rather than have to fight each other. But meanwhile, let's go back to the leaders here. And are we going to see pit stops from any one of our leaders? No, they're going to continue on. But here comes Pease now. He's going to go down the inside line. Isaac Kush, I think, wants to get involved here too, as Pease takes the lead. Wouter and Isaac going side by side into the Senna S's turn 1. A little bit of wheel touching there between the two of them, but Wouter is able to come out on top in second. Marco Bada taking a pit stop now, as they both have DRS heading down towards what I believe is turn 4. I gotta count them out. 1, 2, 3. Nope, turn 4 here. Definitely turn 4 as I just took the moment to count them out. But it's Pease now leading this Grand Prix. Wouter in second. Isaac Kush in third. So a couple lead changes here, ladies and gentlemen. But now let's see how long this lead is going to last from REL Pease, with the two powerhouses charging at him, knowing full well they've got their own battle to handle too. They definitely want that separation between the two of them. Jerome, meanwhile, getting past the Red Bull of rotation elsewhere on the track, as I saw that just on the timing table. But as they're once again heading around the final few corners to start lap 15, they're still staying out. But I thought Isaac Kush was going to take a pit stop here, but no, trying to fake a pit stop, fake some comfort to head right back on track, as we've seen time and time again over the course of the season. Meanwhile, Jamian and Eklund are taking a pit stop, and Carmentalist, he's going to continue onwards. So it looked like the Alpha Tauris are starting to hit their pit stop window. They are just they just essentially communicated, whichever one you do, I'll do next lap or something of the sort. But let's see where they're going to come out in. If I say in comparison to Knight, who's just coming through the Senna S's now, that was that main battle here between the two of them, and it looks like they should be. There's Knight there, going a little bit wide on that on the exit of that corner, and gets dinged for it as well. But the overcut worked out for Jamian and Eklund, as they're ahead of Knight in that McLaren here. But back to the leaders. Let's see, there's Pease still leading. He's building a little bit of a gap here. There's Isaac Kush taking a pit stop for real now, so he's going to try a little bit of an undercut here. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the first true chapter here. We saw the on-track battles, and now it's time to see who's got the better of who as far as pit stop strategy is concerned. Isaac Kush pitting at the end of lap 15. Wouter and Pease staying out, as now they're catching up to AJ Wuhan, who's running a one lap down here. Not having a race to remember is AJ, unfortunately. But we're still going to have to see how this is going to play out. Isaac Kush is out of the pit lane in 7th place here, or 8th place I should say, as he's right behind the likes of Nathan JB, but it's still showing him in the pits, and I really don't know why, because he is definitely out of the pit lane. There he is right there, but timing tables doing what timing tables do, I guess. You love to see it when that happens, yeah, that's to say. But now here we go. There goes Pease. There goes Wouter. Both diving into the pit. So they're only going to be staying out for one lap. But let's switch over here. There is here. Let's do this. As there's still our pit lane is a little bit buggy here, as you can see. Really struggling. Showing Wouter not in the pit anymore. It looks like now he's back. But there we go. Isaac Kush getting ahead of Nathan JB with the help of DRS. That was the important part that I saw. Now let's see, where is he going to come out in reference to Pease and Wouter. We're riding on board with them. It's gonna be close here, and there we go. There you see the two of them. So unfortunately, the undercut didn't quite work, but the overcut didn't do much in terms of gaining time either. We're essentially right back to where we started. Prix leading Wouter, leading Isaac Kush, just this time for 5th, 6th, and 7th. And now they're going to have a couple drivers that they're going to have to go through once they do catch up, starting with the Red Bull that's right in front of Ariel Prix, and that is the Red Bull of Rotation, currently running in 4th position on those 16-lap-old medium tires. Meanwhile, Jerome, I just realized it's Jerome who pit 5 laps prior. He's up into 3rd right now, so he's running a great strategy himself. But of course, his tires, I should say, are 5 laps older now than those behind him, his main competitors. But he's still done a good job of building a little bit of a gap, as you can see both Prix and Wouter got ahead of Rotation. Isaac Kush, meanwhile, still finds himself behind. So I think with the help of DRS, that move should be done relatively quickly, and there you have it. That move was done, but still a little bit of a gap being made between Isaac Kush and Wouter here, running in 5th and 6th. But now it's a 4-second gap to Jerome, who's stuck behind Carmentalist, who's in 2nd. He and Larkin, P1, P2, they were running on those medium tires, looking to go a little bit longer, like Rotation. But I do think Larkin has the extra benefit. He can go a little bit longer if he chooses than the rest, since he's been able to just run in clean air for a better part of this race, not having to deal with a lot of dirty air and battling like we've seen a lot of these other cars do. But if I look back at this main championship battle here, I'm gonna show a lot of it, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already noticed. But there is a reason for it, and this is exactly it. Jerome and Carmentalist change positions, so Jerome doing what he has to do now to get up and create some separation here with the likes of Prix, Wouter, and Isaac charging down. Rotation doing a decent job of sticking with this group, all considered, given his lap time, or his tires are about 16, 17 laps older than those ahead. But sticking within 2 seconds, just trying to go a little bit long before he hits his pit stop. We've got a yellow flag here in Sector 3, and I think that is for Bacher, who brought that out. Will be diving into the pit lane. I think it's time to get those soft tires off that car after running 13 laps with them. I think that's about all they can handle here. But you can see the likes of Prix trying to chase down those next group of cars of Jerome and Carmentalist. Carmentalist very crucially has DRS on Jerome Visser, so that's going to help him stick with that car who's in 2nd. But you can see XL Larkin, a 6-second gap between himself and P2 with Jerome. So XL Larkin running a fantastic strategy. He's doing great here. Exactly what he needs to do in that Williams. He's in the lead of the race, and he should be set for a decent spot when he does choose to take his pit stops to get off of those medium tires. And being on the quicker soft tires might have a good chance of possibly gaining a few positions in the process as well when the time does come. But the gap is slowly but surely closing in Sector 2, which does rely on a lot of tire performance here with the hard braking and quick acceleration from lower speeds. 5.5 seconds is the gap now, and it's continuing to close. But crucially, that gap between Jerome and Carmentalist is 1.1 seconds. So will Carmentalist have any DRS? It does not look like he has DRS this lap, and that's crucial for Jerome. And possibly a little bit crucial for the likes of Total Prix here, who's who's chugging along with that next group of cars, trying to close that gap up to these top 3 here to retake those positions that they were in initially before the pit stops. As AJ Wuhan taking a penalty here. Meanwhile, you've got Marco Bada chasing down Rotation with the help of DRS, closing onto the Red Bull driver, but just not enough to get the overtake done here on lap 21, as he's going to have to stay behind the Red Bull, is the Mercedes driver here, for at least one more lap or less if Rotation does make a mistake here through this section. Marco ready to pounce. You can see how close they are. A yellow flag in Sector 2 is... That's Josh 2, retired out of this session. Is bringing out a yellow flag. There went Feral Fury past Josh 2. But that might be it. I think we're only going to see a yellow flag out of this. XL Larkin, he's taking his pit stop, so we'll expect him to fall down a couple positions. As you're seeing here, Carmental is pitting as well. There goes rotation, so 20 laps seem to be the extent of what those tires can do. But now onto the soft tires they go to the end of this Grand Prix, maybe hoping to get a little bit of a time save under safety car, but unfortunately for them, it was not meant to be. But very crucially, here comes Larkin as he's heading out of the pit lane, and he's ahead of the likes of Nathan JB and Jamie, who's going to go down the inside of the Alpine, gets the move to stick, and there goes Jamie 1 up into P7 now of this in this race. Nathan JB, though, doing a great job in P8, but on 21 lap old medium tires, and I think he might be pitting at the end of this lap, or at the very worst next lap. But you can see down at the front, drivers are kind of buying their time here just a little bit. Walter, you know he's going to have to want to get a move on. He needs to get by, he's going to have to get by Pease, and he might want to hope that Marco Botta can close up a little bit. But very crucially, that's a 7-second gap to try to close, which is no easy feat to do. Meanwhile, there goes Nathan JB into the pit lane to put on a fresh set of soft tires. Wouter got very close to Pease there on lap 23, but not enough to get the overtake done. So will be remaining in third is Ariel Wouter, and like I was saying, not necessarily ideal given the I guess the championship conditions. And if you'll bear with me just a quick moment, I'm just pulling up the I just want to pull up the point structure here just a little bit, just so that way we've got the just so I've got it ready and I can do a couple calculations when needed. So bear with me just a little bit as I try to pull this up. Meanwhile, you can see Wouter closing with DRS down that start finish straight to Pease. Is it going to be enough? No, it is unfortunately not going to be enough. At least for this lap, but possibly with the help of DRS coming up shortly, we might see an actual we might see an overtake here. So bear with me. Go. I'll try to pull them up, but I got to keep y'all company as well, so I'm going to try to do both. Wouter getting close here as we're on board with them, still chasing down Total Pedes. You can see Feral Fury, he's taking his pit stop now. He's going to put on a set of soft tires, so I think for now the pit stops might be relatively at its end. They might be... it might be the... I believe it is essentially the end of the pit stops for a lot of the... I mean, for essentially all of these drivers now. Lap 24 out of 36, so we're getting very close to the end of this Grand Prix. Oh, there we go. Now I've got it here. So here we go. Yeah, so I do actually have my my point structure here. I just had to find them, find it at the right spot. So I've got that ready here. The very crucial number to remember, though, is 20 points. That is the amount of points that Isaac Kush is leading Ariel Wouter by. So as it stands right now, with Wouter in third, Isaac in fourth, then it would essentially mean that that Isaac would be the champion here, as there's only a 5-point difference. The key here with 20 points, Wouter essentially needs to win the race and have Isaac Kush finish no better than 5th place. So that is the key here. So not looking all that great as of right now, with both Pease and Jerome ahead of Wouter. But that's the best case scenario. though, assuming Wouter gets P1. Other than that, then as it stands right now, it's Isaac Kush's race to lose here with those 20 points. But there goes Total P's going for the overtake. Wouter getting ahead as well. Can he do both? He's gonna try to nick it down the outside, but no, not gonna quite work. But Jerome falls down to 3rd place now in this race, as he was doing a good job leading, but with the help of DRS, and I'm sure those tires starting to wear out on him ever so slightly, that has knocked Jerome down 2 positions in the span of one straightaway, just showing the power of DRS here on this track. But it's now Pease who retakes the lead of the race with 10 laps to go. Wouter in 2nd, Jerome Visser in 3rd, Isaac Kush in 4th place, with Marco Bada rounding out the top 5, a very distant 8 seconds behind 4th place here. But also got to show some love to a couple other battles here on track. You've got Krishna chasing down Nathan JB for P12 here. There's Nathan JB, took a little, a time penalty there. We saw that going a little bit wide on the exit of what was turn 4. Meanwhile, Wouter getting ahead of Total P's down that start-finish straight as they now head down towards the Senna S's. So Wouter takes the lead of the race. He's where he needs to be, but he's got to hope for a little bit of luck here. With the laps ticking down, Isaac Kush sitting pretty comfortably in 4th position, with Marco Bada in a distant 5th. Larkin on those softs trying to close up. He's about 2 seconds behind, but he's going to need a little bit more. Meanwhile, here comes Carmentalis. He's going to go down the inside of Jamian. They were going to battle for a little bit, but that was Carmentalis on the softs, just having much more grip as he gets the overtake done on the Haas driver. Jamian, though, down to 8th, but still having a good race so far. But now, as he wants to focus on the driver ahead, but needs to keep an eye out for the other AlphaTauri that's behind him in 9th, 2.6 seconds behind though. But taking a look back at the leaders once again as they head down towards the start-finish straight. Are we going to see another overtake here? They're closing on one another, but it's not going to be enough. Wouter hangs on to the lead here for another lap. Pease in 2nd position, but he's doing a good job. I think he's buying his time, trying to close up as much as he can. Meanwhile, XL Gary getting ahead of AJ Wuhan here on track, and it looks like that was very close to where we've got the lead battle here. Just a couple cars ahead, or behind, I say, as this lead pack is very much approaching these lapped cars. And with that battle, that could make things a little bit interesting here, with the lap cars trying to get out of the way once they, if they do get caught up. But the lap cars, they will need to get out of the way, but they don't want to give way for their own battle as well. And I mean, the ghosting is nice, but it only helps so much. But looking back here as they're rounding that final true corner here of Interlagos to end lap 28 and start lap 29. The race that is absolutely flown by here, ladies and gentlemen, as they cross the line here with 7 laps to go in this Brazilian Grand Prix, in the finale here for Season 5 of the Division 1 Championship. Here we go. Feral Fury taking a 3-second time penalty, as that will be added on to his final finishing time, as he's down in 14th place. But he's got a little bit of a gap between himself and XL Gary. Feral Fury kind of in his own, kind of running a race with himself here. Big gap ahead, big gap behind. We've got a yellow flag here, as that's, oh no, that looked to be Knight, who had a little bit of a moment as he gets back on track right in the middle of this battle with Nathan JB and Krishna. But I think Nathan JB has to give that position back. I think got possibly an illegal overtake, but now it's a drag race as they head down towards turn 4 here. Nathan on the softs, Knight on the mediums, and it looks like those soft tires are more than enough to get the overtake done. So it is Nathan in 12th, Knight in 13th, but a little bit of a costly mistake there. I think going deep into the Senna S's into turn 1, and now down in 13th position. Meanwhile, you can see Carmental is closing up on XL Larkin. Is he going to go for the overtake? Going to try to stick it around the outside here, but Larkin breaking just that little bit later on that inside line, and that was just enough to keep Carmentalis behind. But now with the second bite of DRS Cherry here, I think this move might just be done and dusted. As you can see, Carmentalis getting ahead of Larkin to get up into P6. But back at the leaders, we've got a little 3-car battle taking forth here. Wouter leading, Pease in second, Jerome Visser rounding out top 3. He's at Kush in a bit of a distant 4th, but he's just got to keep that car. He's just got to, if he keeps that position, he is fine. He's got 0 worries. So he's just, I think, partly wants to race, but also realizing that if he just nurses this car home, he's got this in the bag. So we'll see how this is playing out as we're down to the final 5 laps. But look at this here going forward was Jerome Visser on Total P's. Total P's, or REL P's, excuse me, formerly known as Total P's, doing a fantastic job defending there. Has DRS himself, so it should be keeping things the way they are here once again for this lap. So no position changes. But here, on the other hand, with Carmentalis and Marco Bada, there goes Carmentalis as he gets ahead now. So Marco Bada falling down to P6 here as Carmentalis gets the overtake done. But now with 5 laps to go, an 8.8 second gap, Carmentalis really needs to find an extra gear here, an extra charge to gain another position. And equally with a time second penalty to be added onto his time, that is not going to help all that much either. So I mean, Isaac Kush sitting in 4th, breathing a little bit more comfortably now. Well, I think he probably realized that already, but breathing very comfortably in 4th place, knowing that his fate is in his own hands as of right now. But meanwhile, RELP is getting ahead of Wouter now on lap 32 with the help of DRS. Let's see if Jerome can get an overtake done, or if Wouter's going to charge right back. He's closing, but unable to close up enough. We haven't seen too many overtakes down that section of the track. We've seen a lot more of them with the run down into turn 1 to the Senna S's, at least not from the leaders, but from this midfield pack. Well, that's where all the overtakes are happening into turn 4. Speaking of, XL Larkin now getting ahead of Marco Bada, as Marco Bada trying to fight back. They're side by side here, coming through the sweeping right-hander. There's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action here. What a great camera angle we have for that. Let's just jump on board because we were seeing absolutely nothing from that camera angle. But it is going to be Larkin who gets that position, hangs on to it. Marco Bada will remain in 7th place. Rotation taking a time second penalty that'll be added on to his time. And to start lap 33 out of 36, it's still Pease leading the way. Pease is just finding that charge down the start-finish straight when he needs it. And that's just enough to hang on to that. But now they're coming up to a lap car battle here. There goes AJ Wuhan as he gets ahead of Bacher as they're fighting here for the wooden spoon, essentially for the not last prize, as they're going side by side. But right behind them, I should say, there is that lead pack that might essentially be told to move over and let the lead drivers through. And there you go. There you saw Bacher just bailing out of that very quickly to just try to stay out of the way. Doesn't want to affect anything of that. So 1, 2, 3 get ahead. 4 gets ahead as well. So very crucially, and AJ Wuhan kind of just says thank you for that extra gap in the process in their battle that they're having. But Here we go, another yellow flag here as that looks to be, oh no, that was AJ. It's AJ's turn to have a little bit of a moment as XL Gary takes a speeding in the pit lane penalty. Not ideal for XL Gary there as he's taking a pit stop, putting on a fresh set of tires. So let's see what he's going to go for. I think he's going to try to snipe that fastest lap here for the race. Meanwhile, Marco Bada getting ahead of XL Larkin as they're continuing that battle of their own on the track. AJ Wuhan, he says enough is enough, and he calls it quits here on this race, retires the car, and that's the end of his weekend, and that is the end of his season for AJ Wuhan. And it's been a little bit of a disappointing season here for AJ. I'm sure from what he was hoping for, but of course it's come to an end. And it's time now to regroup and come back stronger for the next season here. But back on track, lap 34 out of 36. We're approaching the end here, as you can see Krishna and Nathan having a little bit of a battle of their own. Meanwhile, up at the front, there are a couple gaps that are forming here. Nothing too crazy, but just enough here with the gaps. Wouter closing, and as we're starting the penultimate lap of this race, Jerome is starting to fall back ever so slightly. I think those medium tires at 23 laps old, they're starting to fall off ever so slightly for him here. But as we're approaching the end, there are the penalties for those who were a little who were curious about it. You've got Carmentalus with 3 seconds, Marco Bada with 3 seconds, as Jamian actually getting ahead of Marco Bada here in the process. Right behind now, these three cars are battling it out. Eklund, but Marco Bada with 3, like I said, Eklund with 3. Rotation has 6 seconds to his name. Nathan JB with 3. Knight has 9 seconds of penalties that will be added on to his time, so not ideal there for him. With Feral Fury 3 and XL Gary with that speeding in the pit lane penalty. Very unfortunate to take that late in the race, as he's going for fastest lap of the Grand Prix, I believe, on those set of soft tires. But as they head to cross the line, here we go. Final lap of the race here, ladies and gentlemen. Wouter goes for a move down the inside. He makes a stick. There's contact. Oh, and there was Total Peas. Oh, and nearly running into the back of Peas, excuse me, was Jerome Visser, or Ariel Jerome, as now they're still having a battle. Total Peas defends down the inside. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact themselves there between the two drivers. It's all to play for here for positioning for the final points. Wouter gets into the lead, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough unless there's a miracle here that happens between now and a couple more corners. Meanwhile, XL Larkin and Jamian still having their battle amongst themselves. Jamian getting up into P6 though, with Larkin down to 7th as he's still chasing down his hopes there. But as they're approaching the final corner, the final true corner, charging down towards the line, lap 36 out of 36. Your winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix is REL Wouter. A fantastic drive, but unfortunately not enough, as the celebratory slowdown to the line here, stopping at the line, crossing, saying hello to the fans. He is your champion of Division 1 here in Season 5, Izat Kush in the Aston Martin. Congratulations on the victory. It was a fantastic season, fantastic race. Really came down right to the end here, and really just on the cusp of it all. But I'm gonna double check just to make sure I've got all my calculations right, so I'm not announcing craziness here. Yeah, so it was a 20-point gap. Izak Kush in the lead. So Wouter coming in first. He gets the maximum, the 40 points, but Izak Kush in second, getting 24 points. So all that said, a champion by 4 points was Izat Kush in finishing in fourth, doing what he had to do. He knew it. He knew it more than anyone, I'm sure, as Eklund wins driver of the day. But my goodness, I mean, what a season, when what a way to end off the season here. It came down to the wire. That's what you love to see. Honestly, the only thing that could have made this better would have been would have been an all-out brawl, the likes of which we saw in the real-life championship, of just whoever finishes ahead wins the championship. That's the only thing that could have made it better, but with the championship, with the race we had here, and the season we had, I'm not going to get nitpicky through all of that, but once again, what a fantastic race from everybody involved, just so full of action. Whew, I mean, I'm catching my breath here just a little bit, but what a race that was. But like I said, it's Ariel Wouter who takes the victory here on at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Interlagos. Pease in second, Jerome in third, Isaac Kush in fourth, Carmentalist rounding out the top five. Larkin, Jamian, Marco Bada, Eklund rotation rounding out the top 10 here. Krishna, Nathan JB, Knight, Feral Fury, Bacher, XL Gary, AJ1, Josh 2, and Ferg. XL Gary did get that fastest lap of the Grand Prix, finds himself outside of the top 15 though, so essentially just steals that point away, but I don't think it counts as a point for himself, as he was outside of the top 15. But like I said, what a way to end the championship. I'm getting trying to get some podium interviews here. I'll try to get Jerome in. I'm sure the other podium, they should already have the access to the group here. But apologies as I just get y'all get a blue screen, as definitely want to get the podium interviews done here. So let's send them out. Let me just quickly get the invites sent off. All right, so I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I got the invite sent off. 2 of the 3 podiums, as well as the championship winner, do have invites already. But we have Jerome who jumped in. So Jerome, I'm just gonna check in as I'm getting to the showroom here. Can you hear us at all?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, so I mean, it was a great race from you, all considered here. Maybe, unfortunately, not quite enough to get the victory, but I noticed. I mean, you did the undercut; it worked out well, but just didn't quite work out for you at the end. But talk us through it. What were your thoughts here at the end of that race?
Yeah, a bit annoying, the train in Brazil, because I couldn't overtake from P3 forward, but yeah, I ruined it for myself. I took too little fuel, and like 1 or 2 laps after I undercut, I checked my fuel and I had like 0.1 or something, or even less. So I had to lift and coast after that. Got catched by the train, and yeah, I really didn't have the ERS to defend from them both. They came past flying, and yeah, after that in the train I was just saving and managed to just have enough fuel for them.
Yeah, now I do want to ask, just with that, with the undercut that you did, I know you had to work your way back up through the field. Were you feeling like as if maybe some of those drivers on those older medium tires, while yours were still in that prime peak optimal racing condition, do you feel like things could have gone a little bit better if you weren't possibly, I don't want to say held up, but stuck behind them for as long as you might have liked?
No, wasn't too bad. Just waiting for the straight to get the DRS and blast past.
All right, but I mean, it was still a good, still a fantastic race from you, and honestly, just I think I have mentioned it week in, week out. Your last couple races of the season here have just been fantastic, riding a lot of momentum here, and it's got me honestly, it's got me excited to see what's to come here as the next season plays out. But congratulations on the podium, another strong result for you here today in Brazil.
Thank you.
All right, and I saw Wouter jumped in. So Wouter, can you hear us at all?
Yes, I can.
So, I mean, a great race from you all considered. You got the win. You did everything you had to do. I'm just going to get out of the way now in case you weren't already aware. Unfortunately, the win was not enough. But, I mean, talk us through. What were your thoughts here on that race?
Yeah, first off, congrats to Isa. Isa has done best this season. He deserves it. Yeah, I've just done my thing. I needed a win here. Like, I literally needed it to have a chance. And yeah, through the race, I had good pace. My quali lap is probably one of my best ones recently, so I was happy with that. And then just in the race, yeah, just see what happens. Just keep an eye on Isa, kinda, and I just needed to win. So yeah, I was aiming for P1.
Yeah, and was that something? I mean, because you were essentially for the entirety of the race. If you weren't battling with Izad himself, you're battling with Peas. And was that something that, knowing that you really needed the win just to have a chance, were you worried at all, or did you feel as if you had this even from the get-go, battles or not?
Pace-wise, felt really good. It was going to be close because Jeroen and Peas both were up there as well, especially those last laps. And it was going to be whoever has DRS and the best tires at the end. And it worked out.
Yeah, and the last question I wanted to ask to you was with the qualifying session, having been essentially a wet session, starting off in full wets, and I noticed it took you a while to really get up and running in your qualifying session. Either the lap time wasn't there or some invalidations. What was going on there? Were you just trying to find the groove, or was it just a little bit trying to push the track as much as possible?
A bit of setup issues, to be honest. I forgot to change my wings, so I had a rough start of the session, but once it went in, I changed some things on the setup, and it worked out.
All right. Well, I mean, it was a great race from you. I mean, unfortunate for you that didn't quite work out for the championship, but I mean, you guys made it a fantastic season and honestly a fantastic race to watch. And I still got to give you congratulations for that top step of the podium and another win here to end off the season. So congratulations.
No, thank you.
So, let me just take a quick peek here. Doesn't look like we've got any of the other drivers jumping in for the interviews there. Too busy celebrating with the champagne, I think. So I think it's just about going to do it. It's going to wrap up the stream here, ladies and gentlemen. So that was the finale, round 16 out of 16. So that is the end of the season. I mean, of course, I got to thank, all of you guys who are watching at home. Thank you for the support, the drivers that showed up week in, week out. Thank you for honestly putting a show on for everybody to watch. It's been great to be able to take you through it all over the course of the season. But like I said, the season is over. We will have news on season 6, I believe, sometime after Christmas. So a little bit of a break until then, but we'll have news for you. But I mean, until then, like I said, thank you everybody. Congratulations to Izat for winning the championship, and all the other champions from the other divisions, and to all the drivers, y'all did fantastic this season. But until next time, on behalf of myself and everybody here at ISRL Esports, I do want to say thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.